when it comes to gluing these things, fiberglassing them into the roof of the car, two questions occur immediately, one of which is the difficulty in glass fibring upwards. Now obviously gravity has a massive amount to play in that problem, so I'm encouraged by the fact that this matting can be separated into two layers quite easily. So that's what I'm hoping to do to make sure the glass fibre matting doesn't fall off before it's set. Still a bit of a gamble, I have to say. And the other one, fitting these things on initially. Now these are quite, well, certainly bendy enough. So all I need to do to fix these up temporarily, I hope, onto the ceiling is actually to glue them on with hot glue. So that's what I'm going to do right now. The glass fibring stage will need to wait a little bit. So put the light on. I'm going to put one in the middle of the front windows and one in the middle of the back window. So I'm going to put a line of glue in the middle. I shan't bother doing the whole length, I don't think, because it will stay up or it won't. And glue actually stays hot for quite a long time, although metal tends to absorb the heat. This is very, very thin stuff, so let's give it a go. Let's go with the front one. I'll tell you what, I'll go with the back one first, because I can get in here more easily. Now, what I can't easily see is how straight that is. No, it's quite on the squiff actually. Right, okay. So I'll hold that in place for a little while and we'll see if it stays. Let's see, is there any sign of it? It's not stuck very well. Okay, right, here's my Mark II effort. And as you can possibly see, I'm actually using a bendy ruler to force the strip up as a spring. So that obviously does work. And I'm just going to mark where the strip should go. And so that's that side of it. I think I'm sure that will work equally well at the front. So that's okay. So then the question becomes about how best to fix it up. Now, of course, I have been talking about glass fibre, which has the certainty of not coming off, but I could use some other adhesive such as Sikaflex. But thinking about it, I'm inclined to say that the consequences of that thing coming off are quite serious actually, because it will be above the headlining, so that would require, and fixing it would require the headlining to be removed and the windows to be taken out. So I'm not really, I don't really want to go there. So I think I'm going to go, maybe I should go with a combination. But yeah, this spring effect of holding this thing up is quite good. And I think perhaps also the glass fibring can be done in stages rather than all at once. And that's important too. Also important, I think I'm going to have to, by this ceiling, it's got this black, I think all this black stuff is probably, I don't know, mould? It's dirt anyway. So I think perhaps of a bit of abrasion up there might be a good idea with a sanding block, so I shall do that, and we'll see how it goes. So here's my roof stiffening rib, and here is a tube of tiger seal. Now the instructions for the tiger seal said to abrade the metal with 80 grit, so that's what I've done. Right. Right, so I'm going to use this stuff to stick this piece to the ceiling of the Gilbern, which I've also abraded. I'm not going to take you in there because the chances of me having an accident with this big sticky thing with the camera is quite high, so I'm just going to put it in there and show you. And apologies for the low light. Here it is, being glued to the ceiling with the assistance of this 1 meter rule. So yeah, I'll see how that one goes, and there will be one here as well. And as well as that, I'll most likely see if I can put some fiberglass over it, being somewhat in favour of belt and braces, before I can put the roof lining in, which I'll maybe put the windows in. So there we are. Now on my roof stiffening rib I now have this, which, as well as being fixed on with tiger seal, as you can see, I have mainly laminated it in with fiberglass matting as well, and that's because I really don't want to have any risk of the thing coming undone, because there's going to be a head lining under this, and that would be something of a blinking nuisance if it was to come undone. So belt and braces, if you like. So anyway, I'm going to do the same thing on the second one, which is even more solidly affixed with tiger seal, actually, if anything. But nevertheless, I'm going to do it, and it may be useful for some to see that I can actually, it would appear, fiberglass upwards, albeit with small pieces. So I'm mixing up some fiberglass resin. I've got 115 grams of resin in there. I'm going to mix it up in 1%. I did have some trouble with this stuff setting too quickly. So although it's cooler today, so and that was at even at 1%, so I'm going to go certainly no more than that. And I'm mixing the resin up in this well, it's a cake case actually. I've used it a few times now and it seems remarkably effective, obviously with minimal plastic waste to be thrown away at the end of it. So I'm mixing it up, going well into the corners. Obviously there's quite a few crevices in this paper case. Make sure to squeeze the stuff out of this paintbrush, which is probably going to be thrown away at the end of this exercise. Well into the corners, squeeze the brush out a few times. Make sure I put the lid back on the hardener. And here we go. Okay, so I've cut my resin up into a number of strips rather than a great big long piece. Trying to put minimal resin on the brush because of course it does have a habit of dripping. Which I certainly don't want And that, I think, is enough for the belt and braces effect. It's very hard to get that stuff upwards, but there it is. And I'll just say that this steel strip is actually galvanised as well, so there shouldn't be any problems with rust. So that's the ceiling stiffening sorted, which means I can then move on to the headlining.